Even though that we got a half a year to wait for the iPhone 17 series, we got just the right look to the entire lineup, including the upcoming new family member to the 17 series or possibly the new design for the 17 Pro. But aside from the looks, there's a big question, that is Apple changing or even adding anything to the new iPhones to make them less boring and worth to buy? Well, today we're gonna find the answer together. But before we start, I'm gonna talk about something. The average view duration, mostly from the Indian fellows, which are more than 22% of my total viewers, is around 1 minute and 30 seconds. And to be honest, it kinda negatively affects the channel. And our team and my channel needs your help to grow to make better content. So what I'm asking you to do is just to watch the video till the end. Trust me, it's worth your time. Now, I don't like to keep you waiting. This is Whiteforge, and let's get to the video. There are a few big changes that I want to talk about today, and the first one that I want to start with is the new family member that's coming to the iPhone 17's lineup. The iPhone 17 Air. Now, Apple has two failed attempts of adding new devices to the iPhone lineup. The Mini, which came with the iPhone 12 and gone with the 13, and the Plus, which came with the 14 and it's being sold up to now. Now, while the Mini sold pretty okay, the Plus was an absolute failure because it didn't bring new features to the iPhones. It was just a bigger and heavier version of the regular iPhone with the price of the Pro, or close to the Pro. Now, the designers in Cupertino have some new ideas in their head which Apple never attempted to make or even announce, and they think it's gonna be more popular among the people and sell better than the Mini and the Plus. Now, the rumors said that it's gonna be a completely new iPhone. This thing is only 5.5mm thick. For comparison, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is 8.25, so you're gonna definitely feel it when you hold it in hand, because we're kinda used to the thickness of the iPhones up to now. And in the back, we're gonna have a single camera setup, which is gonna be the same 48 megapixel sensor on the iPhone 16 or the 17 maybe. No ultra-wide and no telephoto, because Apple is being Apple. And since it's a thinner device, it's gonna have a worse battery than the 17 series, so you shouldn't expect an all-day battery life with this thing. But still, it's gonna be better than the SE, because that thing's battery was an absolute dog shit. And apart from the design, because of its lower specs than the iPhone 17 series, it's not gonna be more expensive than the Pros or the Pro Max. It's gonna be a replacement for the iPhone 16 Plus, so the price will be at $899. And there's another thing that totally makes sense with this phone. Because it's a thinner device, there is no physical SIM. A slimmer design sometimes comes with a cost. Now, for those who live in US, it's probably a common thing from the iPhone 14s, but it's not as common in other countries. So you gotta consider using an eSIM while you're buying a slim iPhone. iPhone 17 Air. The next and the second big change that is gonna happen to the iPhone 17 series is a 120Hz display on a regular iPhones. Finally, after 4 goddamn generations. Now, Apple has announced the 120Hz display, better called by ProMotion, on the iPhone 13 Pro and the Pro Max. Now, we're at a time that even $200 Android phones have 120Hz display. Now, you might come to the comments and say, oh, the iPhone 60Hz is smoother than Android 60Hz, it can compete with 120Hz on flagship Androids. Please don't, it doesn't. It even looks slower. Come on. But yeah, that's a good thing to see that Apple finally is using a 120Hz display on the regular iPhones. Now, the third big change that I'm gonna talk about is for the dynamic island. It's not gonna be smaller on the iPhone 17 Pro or the Pro Max. Or Ultra, if they're gonna change the name. Who knows? Now, the first time that Apple introduced the dynamic island or the pill-shaped cutout was the iPhone 14 Pro. The newer technology allowed the engineers to put the Face ID sensor under the display so they can get rid of that big-ass notch. There's no punch hole cutout this time. We're probably gonna see the pill-shaped cutout just like the previous generation, but it's gonna be smaller. Now, aside the dynamic island, the front-facing camera on the entire iPhone 17 lineup is finally getting an upgrade. The iPhones had a 12 megapixel front-facing camera from the iPhone 10, 6 generations ago. And now, finally, we're gonna see a 24 megapixel front-facing camera. It's gonna be sharper, so you have better details, less noise, better color accuracy, or better zooms perhaps. And overall, the front-facing camera is gonna be twice as better as the previous generation. Now, the fourth change that is gonna happen to the iPhone 17 series is gonna be the new design of the iPhone 17 Pros and the Pro Max. We've pretty much seen the same back design from the iPhone 11 Pros up to 16 Pro Max, and all of them used glass. Now, this time it's gonna be half aluminum and half glass. Now, on top of the phone, we might see the aluminum because it contains the horizontal camera cutout. And at the center and the bottom, we're probably gonna see glass because of the MagSafe and wireless charging. Now, speaking of aluminum, Apple might get rid of titanium, which is only 2 years old. Or blend the titanium with aluminum to make it less expensive and, I don't know, lighter. I mean, it's the weirdest thing that I've ever heard from the past few months, because Apple was bragging about titanium when they introduced it in iPhone 15 Pros up to now. Why would you even want to stop the flex when it's a good thing to flex on? Now, moving on to the top again, because I want to talk about this camera design. Like this To be honest, if Apple makes the iPhone 17 Pros or the Pro Max with this design, it's gonna be the ugliest iPhone I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it looks like an iPhone in the design of the Pixel 9 Pro inspired by the Galaxy S10 chassis. I ain't gonna lie, these three phones are pretty good, but merging them together is no. But I mean, yeah, it does let them to use bigger and better sensors, but why? Talking about the sensors, all the iPhone 17 Pro's camera is gonna be 48 megapixels. And that 48 megapixel sensor on the telephoto lets you to take 24 megapixel photos on 5x zoom and even zoom higher with less quality degrees. Now alongside this ugly nightmare of a design, we might see the variable aperture first time on an iPhone. It's not the first time that companies use this technology. We've seen the variable aperture thing on the Huawei P70, on a Magic 7 Pro, and the Nubia Z70 Ultra. The good thing about this variable aperture is that it lets you to control the light that comes to the sensor manually, so you can take some portrait shots with true-to-life background blurs. You know, all this that I said is just a rumor. We aren't 100% sure that the iPhone 17 Pro and the 17 Pro Max are gonna look this ugly, or even they use the variable aperture. But if they do, God bless America. The sixth and the last big change that is gonna happen to the iPhone 17 series is that Apple is gonna use more Apple components in their iPhones. Now, Apple has been using the A series chipset for their iPhones and M series for the MacBook and the iPad lately. And because of the integration of this hardware with the software, the amount of optimization and the efficiency is so high that it makes the Apple devices to be the most powerful devices with an extremely good battery life. And this year we might see the self-made 5G modem by Apple on the iPhone 17 and 17 Air. Previously, the 5G modem that Apple used on the iPhones was made by Qualcomm. And other than that, we might see the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chipset made by Apple for the iPhone 17 Pro and the Pro Max. This makes the connectivity package more powerful, and it gets so efficient that it might fix the battery issues that previous iPhones had with the 5G. This, for now, was the biggest changes that Apple's gonna do with the iPhone 17 series. From the 120Hz display for the regular iPhones, the new family member which is gonna be called the iPhone 17 Air, the weirdly ugly design of the iPhone 17 Pro, and more Apple components, I gotta say that this year iPhone 17 series is gonna be the most changed Apple devices from the previous generation, of course. And we're of course making a new video about the upcoming iPhone 17s if there's new information. Until then, you'd better watch the iPhone SE 4 or the 16e video which we made a couple of weeks ago, which is here, I don't know, just click on it. And that's it. Thank you for watching till now, and if you did, please consider subscribing the channel and ring the bell so you wouldn't miss the new videos. And don't forget to like and drop your nice comments, and I will answer to all of them. This is WhiteForge, and see you on the next one.